Majority Leader.
The Senate's now having quorum called, is that right?
That's correct.
I would ask unanimous consent that be terminated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I now ask unanimous consent the remaining time post-cloture be yielded back and the Senate adopt the motion to proceed to S. 1940.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
On behalf of Senate.
Motion is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Clerk will report.
Calendar number 250, S. 1940, a bill to amend the National Flood Insurance Act of 1968 and so forth and for other purposes.
Mr. President, I was coming here today to propound a unanimous consent request on this most important piece of legislation dealing with flood insurance. But after having had some discussions with various people, this time it would not be of any benefit. There's no need for me to stand up and ask unanimous consent when I know it's not going to go anyplace. So we're going to move this forward a little bit, and hopefully with this that I'm doing now, we can move toward completing this bill at a very early time. On behalf of Senator Johnson of South Dakota and Senator Shelby, I have a substitute amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, for Mr. Johnson of South Dakota and Mr. Shelby, proposes an amendment number 2468.
I ask for the yeas and nays on that, Mr. President.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be.
On behalf of,
Yeas and nays are now ordered.
on behalf of Senator Pryor, I have a first-degree amendment, which is at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, for Mr. Pryor and Mr. Hoven, proposes an amendment number 2469 to amendment number 2468.
Ask for the yeas and nays on that.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Yeas and nays are ordered.
I have a second-degree amendment, which is also at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2470 to amendment number 2469.
I have an amendment at the desk to the language proposed to be stricken.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2471 to the language proposed to be stricken by amendment number 2468.
On that, Mr. President, I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Yeas and nays so ordered.
I have a second-degree amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2472 to amendment number 2471.
I now have a motion to recommit the bill with instructions, which is also at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, moves to recommit the bill S. 1940 to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs with instructions to report back forthwith, being amendment number 2473.
I ask for the yeas and nays on that motion.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Yeas and nays are so ordered.
I have an amendment to the instructions at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2474 to the instructions of the motion to recommit S. 1940.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Yeas and nays are so ordered.
I have a second-degree amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The Senator from Nevada, Mr. Reed, proposes an amendment number 2475 to amendment number 2474.
I now move, Mr. President, to proceed to calendar number 341, S2237.
Clerk will report the motion to proceed.
Motion to proceed to calendar number 341, S2237, a bill to provide a temporary income tax credit for increased payroll and extend bonus depreciation for an additional year and for other purposes.
Senator from Montana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today in strong support of a bill that we'll be taking up very soon to reauthorize and reform the National Flood Insurance Program. 9 months ago, the Senate Banking Committee passed long-term flood insurance reauthorization with overwhelming bipartisan support. 5 months ago, Senator Vitter and I, along with 39 members of this body, wrote our leadership urging that the bill be brought to the floor. Well, Mr. President, today, this week, we will finally consider this much-needed piece of legislation, and I want to thank Senator Reed for his willingness to bring it to the floor. I want to first and foremost thank Chairman Johnson, Ranking Member Shelby for their excellent work in drafting this bill, commend them for their efforts to build consensus on this important piece of legislation. And I want to thank my colleague, Senator Vitter, for his leadership and partnership in working with me to help influence this bill in a way that reflects broad bipartisan support. Together, we added a number of provisions to improve the initial draft. These provisions include one that addresses a critical issue in my state. When this bill is passed, the Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA will finally have to work together to develop common standards that will allow existing Corps levee inspections to meet FEMA levee certification criteria. We also lengthened the phase-in period for homeowners who must purchase flood insurance for the first time as a result of being mapped into a floodplain, so that as changes to the map occurs, folks are not forced immediately into high-priced premiums. This bill takes important steps to more closely align risk with premium. It makes changes to protect taxpayers, and it puts the program on a more solid financial ground. The House and Senate have never produced two flood insurance bills as closely aligned as the bills that we have before us. And I'm not sure that we've ever had the same strong, broad support that we have now from homeowners and realtors, insurers, state insurance regulators, and environmental groups. That is a real testament to my colleagues on the Banking Committee, and I look forward to finally sending a long-term reauthorization and reform bill to the President's desk for his signature. Unfortunately, we've seen the consequences of reauthorizing this program on a short-term basis, and we've seen the consequences of letting this program lapse. We've been down that road before and seen how unproductive and destructive lapses can be. Past lapses in the program have created uncertainty for homeowners and created significant burdens for those participating in the flood insurance program. When the program lapsed in 2010, about 1,400 home sales were canceled each day during those 53 days that the program lapsed. At a time when the housing market is still fragile, this is something that we cannot afford. For me, Mr. President, this is an issue that hits home. The unprecedented flooding in the Missouri River Basin last year, which affected folks throughout central eastern Montana, clearly demonstrates the need for reauthorization and for reforms to ensure that levees are certified properly and efficiently. And I also care deeply about this program because in addition to protecting Montana homeowners, there are jobs tied directly to the flood insurance program. In Kalispell, Montana, two of the largest national servicing organizations that employ over 500 people, jobs that could be put in jeopardy without a long-term agreement. Mr. President, we must offer Americans certainty in the face of risk. Now, at long last, comprehensive, bipartisan, long-term reauthorization of the National Flood Insurance Program is within reach. Let's quickly act to provide security and peace of mind to the 6 million Americans who rely on the National Flood Insurance Program. With that, thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor and suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
President.
Senator from North Dakota.
Ask further proceedings under the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection, clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, hereby move to bring to a close the debate on the Reid motion to concur in the House amendment to S. 3187, the FDA Safety and Innovation Act, signed by 17 senators.
By unanimous consent, the mandatory quorum call has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to concur in the House amendment to S. 3187, a bill to amend the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act to revise and extend the user fee programs for prescription drugs and medical devices, to establish user fee programs for generic drugs and biosimilars and for other purposes, shall be brought to a close. The yeas and nays are mandatory under the roll. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka, Mr. Alexander, Ms. Ayotte, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Baucus, Mr. Begich, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bingaman, Mr. Blumenthal, Mr. Blunt, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Boxer. Mr. Brown of Massachusetts. Mr. Brown of Ohio. Mr. Burr. Ms. Cantwell. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Carper. Mr. Casey. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Coates. Mr. Coburn. Mr. Cochran. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Corker. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Dement. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Enzi. Mrs. Feinstein. Mr. Franken. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley. Mrs. Hagan. Mr. Harkin. Mr. Hatch. Mr. Heller. Mr. Hoban. Mrs. Hutchison. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Inouye. Mr. Isaacson. Mr. Johans. Mr. Johnson of Wisconsin. Mr. Johnson of South Dakota. Mr. Kerry. Mr. Kirk. Ms. Klobuchar. Mr. Cole. Mr. Kyle. Ms. Landrieu. Mr. Lautenberg. Mr. Leahy. Mr. Lee. Mr. Levin. Mr. Lieberman. Mr. Lugar. Mr. Manchin. Mr. McCain. Mrs. McCaskill. Mr. McConnell. Mr. Menendez. Mr. Merkley. Ms. Mikulski. Mr. Moran. Ms. Murkowski. Mrs. Murray. Mr. Nelson of Nebraska. Mr. Nelson of Florida. Mr. Paul.
That's what I did.
Mr. Portman.
11. You better count. 11?
Mr. Pryor.
That's when we get back.
That's when we get back.
Mr. Reed of Rhode Island. Mr. Reed of Nevada. Mr. Risch. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Rockefeller.
The week we get back.
We get back, it's a Wednesday, but you told me Wednesday. I did it. Did you have an excuse that way? Yeah, we got a bunch of them. You're going to have all kinds. We got them all over the place. Okay.
Mr. Rubio.
On that night, just drink a lot.
Mr. Sanders. Mr. Schumer. Mr. Sessions. Mrs. Shaheen. Mr. Shelby. Ms. Snow. Ms. Stabenow. Mr. Tester. Mr. Thune. Mr. Toomey. Mr. Udall of Colorado. Mr. Udall of New Mexico. Mr. Vitter. Mr. Warner.
Hey, Mark.
Mr. Webb. Mr. Whitehouse.
Hey, Roger. Tonight, dinner tonight, Vanilla where? Same place.
Mr. Wicker.
This one. Will we have our prayer breakfast? Probably not.
Mr. Wyden. Senators voting in the affirmative: Alexander, Begich, Bingaman, Boxer, Brown of Massachusetts, Cardin, Carper, Chambliss, Cochran, Collins, Conrad, Coons, Crapo, DeMint, Enzi, Franken, Gillibrand, Graham, Grassley, Inouye, Isaacson, Johans, Johnson of Wisconsin, Johnson of South Dakota, Kerry, Klobuchar, Landrieu, Leahy, Lugar, Manchin, Mikulski, Nelson of Nebraska, Nelson of Florida, Pryor, Reed of Rhode Island, Roberts, Shelby, Tester, Udall of New Mexico, Vitter, Warner, Webb, Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Burr, Paul. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, aye. Mr. Lieberman, aye. Mr. Portman, aye. Mr. Akaka, aye. Mr. Inhofe, aye. Mr. Cole, aye. Ms. Snow, aye. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Levin, aye. Mr. Toomey, aye. Mr. Lee, aye. Ms. Ayotte, aye. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Mr. Menendez, aye.
I'll be there. I got it. Thank you, buddy.
Mrs. McCaskill, aye. Mr. Coates, aye. Mr. Rockefeller, aye. Mr. Brown of Ohio. Mr. Brown of Ohio. Aye. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Sessions. Aye. Ms. Stabenow. Ms. Stabenow. Aye. Mr. Bozeman. Mr. Bozeman. Aye. Mr. Baucus. Mr. Baucus. Aye. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wicker. Aye. Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey. Aye. Blumenthal. Mr. Blumenthal. Aye. Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein. Aye. Mr. Lautenberg. Mr. Lautenberg. Aye. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse. Aye. Mr. Markley. Mr. Markley. Aye. Mr. Harkin. Mr. Harkin. Aye. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso. Aye. Mr. Thune. Mr. Thune. Aye. Mr. Corker. Mr. Corker. Aye. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn. Aye. Mrs. Hutchison. Mrs. Hutchison. Aye. Mr. Blunt. Mr. Blunt. Aye. Mrs. Hagan. Mrs. Hagan. Aye. Mr. Hoven. Mr. Hoven. Aye. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch. Aye. Mr. Heller. Mr. Heller. Aye. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McConnell. Aye. Mr. McCain. Mr. McCain. Aye. Mrs. Murray. Mrs. Murray. Aye. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin. Aye. Mr. Reed of Nevada. Mr. Reed of Nevada. Aye. Mr. Schumer. Mr. Schumer. Aye.
Are there any senators in the chamber wishing to vote or to change your vote? Seeing none, on this vote, the yeas are 89 and the nays are 3. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn having voted in the affirmative, the motion is agreed to.
Madam President,
The senator from Connecticut.
I thank the chair. Madam President, let me first thank my friend and colleague from